During the 11 years that I spent in Roatan, I met so many tourists who also aspired to live abroad. And most of the time, they would tell me that they plan to use a business to support their lifestyle, their dream to live abroad. One of the things all of them struggled with was implementing digital marketing strategies. I think for the most part, people know that they need digital marketing strategies, but they always get stuck on it or don't know how to move on it. And so most people don't move on it and they just get so passionate, open up their business, move to the country, and just find out when it's a little bit too late that they should have implemented a solid digital marketing plan 1 year or 6 months prior. So I'm an avid supporter of using businesses to support your bicoastal lifestyle because a business is the only way you can really control your financial freedom and your time freedom. I'm also an advocate for digital marketing because digital marketing is what helped me be able to stay in Roatan for 11 years and grow a successful business that was really on, like, not even on the horizon when we moved. It wasn't even a thing. And I'm going to get more into details about that before I continue. But I just wanted to let you guys know that this video is especially for those people aspiring to live abroad and using business as a way to support their dream. And I'm telling you, let's do that, but let's implement digital marketing strategies. So I'm going to share with you some tips you can use if you're going to be a freelancer, if you plan to open up a business at the location or the country you're moving to, or if you plan to open up a US based business. I'll be sharing with you specific digital marketing tips that you can use in those three different scenarios. But why am I so passionate about it? Besides the fact that it helped me to support myself while I was living in Roatan and grow a business. For those of you who don't know, some of you know, because you've been following me, thank you. I co-founded the Garifuna Cultural Center in Roatan. And one of the reasons why the center was so successful is because I was forced into implementing digital marketing strategy out of the frustration that was happening with trying to get the word out. See, before it was a center, we were a bar and restaurant, very well known. Long story short, intuitively, my sister and I felt we had to change gears and we switched to a cultural center. Little did we know, having a cultural center or cultural tourism at that time wasn't as popular as serving a beer. We were basically depending on the local tour operators and the big tour operators to bring us guests to the cultural center. And I started getting frustrated because more than just a business, the cultural center was, I felt very passionate about it because I felt like the Garifuna story should be shared with the world. I also felt like it was time to create jobs for the Garifuna people in the Garifuna village instead of my people having to hail a ride and leave their house at 5 in the morning to go all the way to the other side of the island, sometimes without even money for lunch or car fare, when the tourists or people looking for culture could come to the community because we are the first and only Garifuna community on the islands. That's another story for another day. But the point is, I felt so passionate that y'all need to come here to see the culture. And I started getting contracts with large tour operators. And what really did it for me is we got a contract with one of the largest tour operators on the island. They're not a local tour operator. They're very known throughout the Caribbean. And so once we had a contract with them or they approached us, I was like, man, we're doing it. We're making it. And as we sit down and we speak with them, they're offering $2 per person to come to the center. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I took it. I took it. I took it for the first time. I took it the first time around because they were bringing volume, because I was still getting to know the island. I was getting to know who's who and what's what. And we needed to get some cash flow going. And I wanted to get some experience actually creating deals with other tour operators. So I took it even though I knew that that was very unfair. But a year after the first year contract passed, we started getting more popular And we started adding different things to the cultural experience. We added more activities. And so by the time negotiations came around the next year, I said, I cannot sell this tour for $2 a person. So you know what I did? I said, how about we do $3 a person? Y'all, when I tell you imposter syndrome is real, you would have thought I would have told them $10 or $8. No, I said, can you guys just increase it $1? They didn't want to. They did not want to pay us $3 per person to go see the first and only Garifuna culture, the first and only Garifuna community on the island. They didn't want to come and pay $3 for people who are asking to see the Garifuna culture. Yet they couldn't provide the cultural experience that their guests were asking for. But I was like, you know what? I cut it. Because by that time, imposter syndrome or not, I'm not stupid. I'm not stupid. I know when I'm being taken advantage of, and I cut that. Many people thought that they called me crazy. You're crazy yet again, right? Some of the most successful business people make the craziest decisions, and they ended up being very successful at it. So if people call you crazy, then take it as a form of flattery. Keep going. Anyway, I digress. So I said no, and I noticed that I was like, wait, how are they getting people? They're able to get the masses of people because they had some type of marketing structure included in what they're doing. So I said, you know what? I'm going to open up a website. This girl never made a website in my life. I went and I self-taught. I took a free class somewhere. I don't even remember. When I started doing that, I also got a job as a freelancer. I got a job as a virtual assistant, but that virtual assistant job, it focused more on social media. So then I got deeper into digital marketing and I started learning about content creation. And everything that I started learning as a freelancer, I would practice on the website for the Cultural Center. Long story short, in 2022, we had the most successful year where revenue was up. It's the year where we had the highest number of Garifuna people come and visit the Cultural Center to learn more about who they are as Garifuna people. We had groups, we had family reunions, we had contracts with universities, and all of this happened because people would say, I found your website, I found your Google listing, I saw your YouTube video. And so I was like, well, I don't crack the code. I'm going to apply this to everything. And so this is why I'm so passionate when I tell people, listen, implement digital marketing into your strategy for business. Is what's going to propel you. It's going to pivot you if you're consistent. You don't have to do everything and you don't have to be right. Make 100 mistakes, but just get it going and be consistent. Trust me, that is what you need. You need that in your life. Listen, there are people out there with half of what you know, making quadruple what you're making simply because they had the audacity to put their face out there, simply because they had the audacity to open up a website. All right. But you are the anointed one. God chose you to deliver this message. But because you're scared, because you're suffering from imposter syndrome, you don't put yourself out there. And what happens with my anointed people, and that's why I really want to encourage you, if you got it. You know you're the GOAT when it comes to XYZ. Listen, open up your website, implement your content creation strategy, get to know digital marketing, and if you have the money, pay somebody to do it. Those who have the money, you better pay somebody to do it. Just know that it's important to get it done. Get it out there. Trust me, you're not going to regret it. When you come out with your service and people actually realize that you're the one who know what you're talking about, come on, even you're going to support your competition. Going back to digital marketing, if you plan to be a freelancer and use that to support your bicoastal lifestyle, one thing you have to do is I would start putting my work out there. I would start going to Facebook groups that have business owners seeking for the services that you offer. So if you're a website designer, for example, and you're freelancing, There are Facebook groups out there where business owners convene and they ask questions. And sometimes somebody might say, hey, I want a website to be created. You can reach out to them or you can comment. Or there are Facebook groups where you can share what your expertise is without spamming, right? Always make sure to look at the Facebook group rules before you start spamming and talking about, hey, book me. All right. You don't want to do that either. You want to be smooth, a smooth operator when it comes to that. Also, there are websites like Fiverr and Upwork where you can create a profile and say specifically what it is that you specialize in. You can upload samples of your work. And this is great if you don't have a website yet, because if someone wants to see your work or see where they can book you or pay for your services, all you have to do is send them the link to your Fiverr or your Upwork profile. And the good thing with Fiverr and Upwork is if you don't want to get too crazy with payment methods, you're just getting started, they can pay you using those platforms, right? And there's way more to that. But I'm just for the sake of keeping it short for this video, I'm not going to get into detail, but there's a method to using platforms like Fiverr and Upwork to look for customers as a freelancer. If you are a person who plans to open up a business, a storefront in the country that you're moving to, in addition to creating a digital marketing plan, you want to rub shoulders with the people. Remember, you're not from there, right? And even if you are from there, like my family is from Honduras, but I was born and raised in New York. So when I caught myself moving back to Roatan, I had no idea I was coming off with this New York energy and I wouldn't be taken in as one of them. I had to rub shoulders, find out who's who, what's what, especially in the industry that you want to get into. An island like Roatan is very small, and sometimes you guys move to places that are also very small. So the good thing about that is it's easy to get to know people because everyone is everywhere. You go to the supermarket, you see the same people. You go to the clubs, to the bars, you see the same people. Everybody knows everyone. So if you plan to open up a business location at the country that you're moving to, make sure you rub shoulders. Your next thing, your online marketing, write this down. You want to hone down on what the term is, local SEO. Okay, local SEO. So let's say you're going to the Bahamas, for example. You want to relocate to the Bahamas and you want to open up a massage spa, a spa. You want, when people Google spa in the Bahamas or relaxation in the Bahamas, you want your website to pop up. And there are certain things you have to do to your website and your social media pages and your listings to get that done. Next thing, if you plan to open a US-based business and run that business, manage that business while living abroad, you need to hone down on all of your online systems, right? Your online systems look like, okay, we know you have your website. We know you have your social media pages. What are you doing to connect the people who are reaching out to you, the leads who are coming in? What systems do you have in place to take people from viewers on your website to leads, right? To making them an even warmer lead and eventually a client. There are systems in place that nurture those types of relationships and that automate certain things so that you can have these systems going while you're sipping your margarita on the beach somewhere. Okay. So definitely for that person who you plan to manage your US-based business, hone down on the online systems that you're going to need to implement those strategies. Now,